Well, welcome back to Be the One podcast. And today I'm really fortunate to have two students here with me and two really accomplished students. Kate Depue, who's an 8th grader. And
I'm 7th.
I'm so sorry, Kate.
It's good.
You're so mature. I thought you were 7th grader. And Charles McPherson, senior here at Brookstone. And I'd love to. Obviously, people are going to figure out pretty quickly why you're together on this podcast. But I'd love for you to tell me each tell me a little bit about yourself, your story, your Brookstone story. And Kate, I'll start with you. Tell us about how you ended up at Brookstone. I assume you're a Columbus native, but I could be wrong about that.
So I actually grew up in Catawissa, right outside of Columbus.
Okay.
And my siblings, so my sister, she did Camp B here one summer. And she
Oh,
was like,
wow.
I want to go to Brookstone. My mom was like, all right, we can talk to them, but I don't know if they'll take people right before the school year. So they said, Miss Avery Wolf, actually, that's how we really got connected to Brookstone. She said, oh, we need more people in 1st grade. So that's how my brother and sister got connected with Brookstone.
Wow.
And then I came in November of 3K because my mom was like, all right, it's too complicated having 2 different schools. So we were like, we just all need to go to Brookstone.
Where were they in school before?
They were at Mulberry Creek.
Mulberry Creek, okay. Mm-hmm. And so Camp B, that's awesome.
Yes.
So how far of a drive is it for you every day?
We moved.
Okay.
So we live right across the street in Brookstone.
Oh, good. Right, neighbor of mine.
Oh.
All right, that's where I live too. Well, so did you move because of the school?
Yes, we did, and so we've been in that house since I was 3.
Awesome. So you are so far a lifer here at Brookstone. What's that like to be here your entire life?
I feel like it's just been like really awesome because like the connection with like everyone at Brookstone. And, like, I'm still friends today with people that are in my grade that I've been, like, known since 3K.
Wow. How many of you are there?
There are, like, 3 or 4,
3 or 4
maybe.
of you. That's awesome. So when you went to preschool, though, the preschool was not at River Road. It was over here on the lower school, right? Yeah, got it. That's awesome. Well, that's exciting. So one more year of middle school. Is that exciting or is that scary?
I think it's pretty exciting because I'm excited for high school.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited to play tennis and cheer, and I'm excited for like the theater. So that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Okay, so you're a tennis player.
Yes.
And you do cheer.
I do.
Currently do cheer. Awesome. So you're cheering at the game today?
Yes, I am.
All right. You need to be loud and proud for us. Okay, good. And then also you do the theater. Tell me about your interest in the theater.
I don't really know how it started. I just feel like I've always loved being on stage and like I love to sing. And in 5th grade, so we had to play Aristocats, and so I was actually sick the day of auditions that someone was like, y'all need to get this girl on the stage because, like, I loved doing it. And so the Davises needed more cast members, so that's how I really got started.
Wow. So who was the adult who pushed you in that direction?
Coach Didi actually did. She talked to the Davises.
That's awesome. She'd heard you sing?
Yes.
Yeah. Said we got to get this girl on stage.
Was it a talent show? Did they still have a talent show when you were doing
Yeah,
it?
that was like the talent show, and then I'd helped her with some stuff for our like morning Cubs for Christ thing. It was like a Bible study, so that helped with that.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Come back to the theater stuff. Charles, tell us about your Brookstone story.
Yeah. So when I was born in Washington, D.C., because my dad was in the military, and then he got stationed here when it was Fort Benning and Fort Moore now. And when I was little, they didn't have 3K at Brookstone. So I went to 3K at St. Thomas Episcopal Church, and with a bunch of other people that are still here now, Ava Vladi, Bo Christopher, Charles Briscoe, all those people. And then I came here for kindergarten, and then I've been here ever since. That's much.
Awesome. So you are a lifer, but you're not a native.
I am. I was 3 months old when we moved from DC, so I'm pretty much a native.
Got it. That's awesome. So tell me, what are some of your favorite experiences from your as you grew up here at Brookstone? The most memorable things.
Well, I remember when we were in 1st grade, Bray Manderson's grandmother was one of the teachers. I don't remember her name, but I remember, and Miss Flowers at the same time. So that was an amazing group of people, Miss Flowers and her. I think Miss Flowers retired last year, but they Bray came in and played the drums. I remember, and when you were a little kid, I had no idea how good he was. He probably wasn't that great then, but it was so amazing to me to see a drum kit and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And then we had a bunch of traditions where we went out into the woods and did a bunch of stuff out there. And that was
awesome.
Really fun.
So you're a singer also, like Kate. When did your interest in that begin here at Brookstone?
So I had always been at my church. I had always been in their little choir, and so I joined the little cougar chorus we had here, and still have. And when I was little, I have ADHD, and I have really bad impulse control without my medicine. And so before that, I was kind of a crazy child. My parents didn't really know what to do with me, so they were talking to somebody, and Miss Sally Baker, who at the time was running Springer Theater Academy, was talking, and so they put me in that, and that was really kind of what started me having theater as just like a part of my life. Was going to that summer camp, doing it for a week, 2 weeks, as long as I could. So that's kind of how I got
You fell in
theater
love with it.
baked into me.
Yeah.
And then for the Cougar Chorus, I remember one time we got to sing the national anthem for the Harlem Globetrotters when they came here.
Wow.
And they've done that a few times now, but that was really fun. That was cool.
I think they're doing it this year at the hockey game.
Yeah, it was the same. It was in the same stadium.
Yeah.
And then so I kind of just kept doing theater through middle school and through high school, and then I haven't been able to do a high school musical since the first year because I was doing Springer Theater shows. I was in Cat in the Hat, and then I was in Holes playing Stanley last year. But this year, I did an audition for Springer. So
Okay.
I'm going to do
So we'll have you available.
Drowsy Chaperone, which I'm really excited for. It's
Yay.
really, really funny show. It's hilarious.
Now you're not just sorry, keep going.
It's the fastest I've fallen in love with the musical listening to the
Oh, good.
soundtrack. It's
Oh,
amazing.
good. Oh, good. I don't know that I know it. I'm gonna have to listen to it.
You need to listen.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Oh, good. Okay. So you're not just an actor and a singer, but you do a lot of other things too. What other things are you involved with?
I run cross country. I do swim. I take a lot of hard classes, I guess. I do. One of the things I do, which is kind of connected to theater, is I'm a state thespian officer for Georgia. So that basically entails, the gist of it is we help plan, set up themes, and sell merchandise and raise charity funds for organizations, but also setting up for ThesCon, which is a conference for thespians around Georgia. About 6,000 come each year down to Columbus for 3.5 days, where shows, workshops, games. It's a really fun time. And me and 8 other of the STOs, I've been an STO twice, so I've been reelected twice. We plan it each year. We have a bunch of different conferences that we go to. I run a few workshops. We host charity events. One of the big charities we raise for is called Broadway Equity Fights AIDS. Oh, wow. Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, which started out as an AIDS program helping that charity, but it sends some crazy number back to Georgia from us. It's like $100,000 in stuff back to Georgia in terms of what it does, and not just AIDS, but in fighting hunger, homelessness, all those kind of things.
Wow. Man, you stay very, very busy.
Yeah.
Golly, that's impressive.
Very busy.
Impressive. Okay, so the two of you all worked together this fall on our fall middle school musical, Aladdin, which was sensational. Kate, tell us about your experience with Aladdin.
So Aladdin, I feel like it was a lot of fun because there were like a lot of people. Like the first day I went in there, I was like, it was even before auditions. It was like a pre-audition thing. I just saw so many people. I was like, wow. It was like more than I'd like ever seen.
Exciting or intimidating? How do you feel about it?
It was pretty exciting because
okay,
I was like, wow, there's like a lot of people. So we got a lot of 5th graders in the cast, and we actually had enough to have like an ensemble this year, which was a lot different, especially when we started with Aristocats. We had maybe a cast of like 12 or 14 people.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
So it was really small. So it was like pretty exciting from the beginning. And then the script was like just a really good script.
And
I really liked it. I played Jasmine.
Now, that's a big role because one of the most famous Disney songs of all time is the song that Jasmine sings, right? I mean, was that scary for you?
A little bit. I feel like the magic carpet, I was like, oh my gosh.
Tell everybody about the magic carpet. That was pretty cool.
Me too.
So we had to get like lifted off the ground, and I was just trusting that it wasn't going to fall.
And you were sort of sitting in a little bit of an incline too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of thought you all might slide off the front of it.
Oh yeah, if we sat in certain places, then we almost slid off.
Yeah. So not only did you have to keep your balance and keep from sliding off, then you also had to sing
Yes.
a really hard song, right?
Yes.
Is it? I assume it's a hard song.
It was pretty hard.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like learn how to do everything.
That's awesome. So do you take voice lessons? Where do you get that voice from?
I don't know. It just comes naturally. I
is
don't
that
really do
right?
voice lessons or anything.
Okay. If you were me, I can't sing a lick. So if you were going to tell me what's the trick to being able to sing a really difficult song, what's a tip
Like a
you might give somebody?
If you like see like there's like a really hard note, just like think you can hit it, because if you don't, your voice is gonna hold back, and then it's not gonna like come
Go
out.
for it.
Yeah, just
Okay,
try.
I'll remember that. My family may not appreciate that, but I'll remember it. So Charles, you were part of this production as well. Tell us your role in Aladdin.
So I was the stage manager. So I was my assistant stage manager, Amelia Barry, and I were kind of in charge of child wrangling. So the cast was 29 people, 30 people.
Wow.
Which is, as you could, it's a lot of kids. And like about half of them were fifth graders.
Yeah.
And so that was the main focus.
Those intermediate school
Those, the
youngins,
fifth
right?
graders, yeah.
And they are wild, just like you were in fifth grade.
Yeah, true. That's true.
So you could relate.
Yes, I can.
That's
I understand.
awesome. So tell me, being stage manager, what does that entail?
So this show was especially engaging for a stage manager because of all the technical aspects. There was pyrotechnics, so fire, explosions, smoke bombs, the carpet. If they were doing a lot with the carpet, but everything back that was me and Mr. Davis pushing up and down the carpet, and Miles Stewart putting in the dry ice into the dry ice machine to go off, and we had to wait for the line, and then we push with all our might to push weight up, and we had to raise it back down until she's on it, and then push it all the way back up, and then keep it going for that entire song.
Sounds a good workout.
It was a tricep workout for sure. Mr. Davis and I.
Did you know he's back there doing that?
Yes. The first day I was like, oh my god.
You know, we didn't. Yeah, it was that was the hardest part of the show. But then we also had. So I had this little box for the pyrotechnics where I would plug it into the wall, and I had to turn a key, flip a switch, and then I could press it on the beat. So like in the song, "Can Your Friends Do This?" for the Genie song, "Can Your Friends Do This?"
Yep. Yep.
Friends do that. So I was pressing the button. Then I had to run it all the way across and give it to Amelia so she could press the button for the smoke bomb for when the Genie comes back up. So it was a lot of doing that, and we wrote down all of the blocking and all of the cues for all of the kids. So I had made, both Amelia and I, a master list of all of the cues for all of the different things that happened. And the big headache for us was we had these set pieces that were like a triangle shape. I forget the periactoids. That's what they're called. Yeah, periactoids. And
I just learned a new word.
Yeah,
today.
me too. Right? It's hard to spell. I don't even remember how to spell it. But each side is a different scene, so they have to move it to match whatever we're in. So that was the biggest headache, writing down whenever that happened.
Boy, I had no idea. I thought you just like moved set pieces on and off.
No, it's
that's incredible.
It's yeah.
Okay, what's the most fun and or challenging part of being in a production that big and that extensive?
I feel like the most fun part and hard part is definitely like choreography and blocking, like remembering all your
tell
dance
people what that means.
moves.
I think I know what it means, but in case people don't, tell people what
So
blocking means.
choreography, just like all the dance steps and stuff. Like one of the numbers we had to choreograph like a few days before the show, and we had to make sure people knew it. And then blocking is like making sure you know where you are on stage. So like let's say I'm gonna like move stage left, I need to like mark that in my book and then remember that.
Why is that so
like,
important?
It's important to remember it so it doesn't look awkward. You're not just standing on the stage, and so it looks more natural. You're not just like talking and then going, "Oh wait, I have to move."
but where you stand is important, right? Because I think you tell me why is
So
where you
you
stand
like
so
can't
important.
have your back to the crowd, and you can't just be facing the crowd. So you have to sort of like cheat. So put like one foot toward the person you're talking to, and then like talk out to the audience, and then look at them. And it takes a lot of time to like practice that because you get used to just like talking to people.
Yeah.
And you have to like look out into the crowd and then
awesome.
look at them and then wait for a response.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, so that's really fascinating. So Charles, you're going to be in the musical, which is exciting, but right now you are getting ready to head tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow
you're
we
heading
leave,
to Vidalia, Georgia.
Vidalia, Georgia.
To participate in
The One Act, Around the World in 80 Days by Mark Brown. Start time.
That's what I've heard twice now.
Yes.
Tell us a little. Give us a little context around it. What is the one act, and then tell us about Around the World in 80 Days.
Okay, so the one act competition is a high school competition for plays. It's an acting competition. That's a big important thing that the Davises know. That it is an acting competition where you have 55 minutes. You start with a blank stage. You have 55 minutes from the words that I say, start time, to go on stage, do a performance, have good acting on it, quick, good pacing, then clear the stage completely, and then Luli or Martha will come on stage and say, stop time, stop time, stop time, until the audience stops clapping and the time is stopped. And if we get it under 55 minutes, that's a really big time deduction. So it's point based.
And are there other rules? Are there other rules about like what you're seeing, your set and things like that? Aren't there other rules you have to follow?
So not written in,
okay,
but because of the size of the door that we have in the shop that goes outside, intrinsically it has to be that size. I see. So the set is actually,
we have our own rules here.
Yeah, we have our own rules basically. So the set is made up of two pieces. It's the piece that rolls, this big piece that's the base of the map that we put things in, and then we have a separate piece that's on top, which is the actual map itself that we can unscrew these little screws we have in it and the wedges, take them off, take the map off, slide it into the U-Haul truck, tie it down, put the thing in, and that's how we fit it outside.
Got it. Okay. So the one act itself doesn't have rules about sets. We just have to follow certain rules here so we can transport it more effectively.
They might, but
okay,
not all. The only limitation is basically what you can fit.
That's
so
cool.
There's a certain.
That's cool. Also, okay. So tell us about Around the World in 80 Days.
So Around the World in 80 Days is about. I mean, it's what it sounds like. So I'm the character.
Very famous book, right?
Yes, it is. It's a.
I feel like I read it.
It's a famous book by a Frenchman who, at the time, was a science fiction writer. Yep. So he wrote about sending a squirrel to the moon, about going around in the world in 80 days, about blimps. All this stuff was science fiction at the time. So the story basically goes that Phileas Fogg, who is a rich Englishman, no one knows how he's rich, was challenged by these other rich men to say that he couldn't go around the world in 80 days. And so he makes a wager of £20,000. And so him and his servant, Passepartout, his French servant, who is the comedic relief of the entire show for the entire time at all times, go around the world in 80 days. And basically what it is this detective Fix thinks that Phileas Fogg is a bank robber. And so he's following him around the world, trying to get him on English soil to arrest him. Along the way, Phileas Fogg finds his love interest, Awuda. And in the end, they make it back home just in time, precisely right as Phileas Fogg always is. And happily ever after.
That's right. So when you all performed this in the regional, which was here in Columbus, how many other schools were participating?
There was supposed to be 7 other schools. There were 6 because Stratford Academy, all of them got pneumonia a few days before, like a day before, which was
so there's 6 of you.
Yes.
And how did that turn out?
So it turned out very well. We gave him first place. Second place is Strong Rock Christian School with a show called Godspell, which is basically the Old Testament, but in a kind of modernized form. It was
so the top 2
for GISA go to state.
And so who when you go compete on Wednesday, how many schools will be in that final competition?
There will be 4 total, including us.
Okay, so you'll be competing against 3 other schools, including the one that you've already competed against.
So the thing about that is that the only thing that Godspell, the other show that we beat, cares about is beating us.
Sure.
We care about winning. They just want to beat us. They'll be happy if they beat us. So that's the main thing.
Well, presumably, I think they're probably assuming that if they beat you, they probably are going to win the state championship.
Yeah, that's what the goal is I suppose. Yeah. But the thing the Davises do really well, and why I specified it being an acting competition, is that the difference between the other shows, and Godspell did this as well, is that they leave as much time for acting as possible. As soon as we have about like a 15-second transition at the beginning, and then you're talking through the entire show. Maybe 5 seconds in between, but there's talking at all times. Godspell did this as well.
Yeah.
Did this as well. They had some songs, of course, because it's a musical.
Yep.
But all the other shows have about 45 seconds or a minute-long blackouts, moving, music kind of things. But the Davises and the director of Godspell are really good about making it so there's as much acting as possible at all times, and it's because it's an acting competition. So,
not only did you win the regional, you also got some some individuals got some awards there too.
Right.
Remind me who did some who was named who was had some achievements there.
Right. So Bo Blackman won one of the Best Performer awards for his character Passport 2, which is hilarious. He did an amazing
Sensational.
job.
He was sensational.
Then Amaya Colbert and Ezra Horde both got All-Star Cast Awards, which is also just an acting award for their many. Ezra has a multitude of characters, and Maya has a few as well.
That's
so
awesome.
And it's just because they did Ezra. Every single character Ezra has walks differently, talks differently, completely differently, and they're all hilarious. And the same thing with Maya. So it's great.
That's tremendous. So you all had to do some accents, right? I mean, everybody did British accents, and then
Pretty much, yeah.
Bo,
Yeah,
who
Bo had
was-
a French
who
accent.
was unquestionably the just sensational
Yes,
star
he's
there.
the star. I mean, he's the star,
Did the French accent? So how hard was that for you to learn to do a British accent?
Right. So we had some people already had a British accent. Like Nancy Sly already knew how to do her British accent.
Okay.
I kind of do. I can learn a British accent for a play because I can read every line and then learn how to say that line in a British accent while I'm listening to it. But if you asked me to talk in a British accent right now, it wouldn't be as good as it is on stage. So I can still do it.
I understand.
But we had these listening tracks that we listened to. So the same thing for the South Indian accent that a few people have to do. But Sophia Chokar, her grandmother is Indian and has the accent that she does on stage, and so that's how we have some of the accents. And
But
then
Bo is not French.
Bo is not French, and it is not an accurate accent.
But it is funny.
That is the most offensive accent in the show. That's 100%. But it's hilarious and
Just tremendous. Well, that was a fantastic show. We wish you very good luck.
Thank you.
This week. So, Kate, is that something you hope to do one day? One act?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I actually ushered for both
cool.
the nights. I didn't get to go on
Yeah.
last Thursday.
Yeah.
But
you saw it
they
twice.
did really good.
So, what's
both
exciting
nights.
for you in anticipating doing that one day? What's sort of the most exciting part of it?
I don't know. I just feel like it's so cool how they do it in like such little time, and it's still like so interesting and like fun to watch. Like you'd think the actors would just be like rushing around the stage, but it's actually like a really good show.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Well, let's change it. Let's change the topic a little bit. I thank you all for sharing that. That was really fascinating. We're excited. We're excited for what you all have done already, accomplished with one act, and wish you luck again. Hopefully, we'll by the time this podcast airs, we'll have even better news.
hope so.
Hopefully, break a leg is what they say, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good,
that's correct.
Good. Well, so tell us. We talked about sort of your Brookstone experience. Tell us what. You didn't really have a choice when you arrived. You both came as very young children. But what do you love about this place? What Kate, let's start with you. What do you love about Brookstone?
I just love the connection that faculty has with students, even at a young age. Like every teacher is like, if you need help, just come ask me. Like, or like learning center even, and just everything in general. Like the teachers just have such a connection with the students. Like you know that you can like go to your teachers for help if you need to.
That's awesome. Charles, what about you?
So yeah, I had a chance to leave Brookstone when I moved to high school, and I had applied to CHS, and I had gotten into CHS, and I thought about it. And one of the reasons that made me stay is not the reason I would cite now, but one of the reasons was that I had so many connections with some of the teachers, and blatantly, I knew the French teacher liked me. And so that's one of the reasons why I stayed. But then Miss Thorne left, so it didn't really matter. But one of the reasons I stay now is because of the commitment to building a well-rounded student, which helps in life, helps getting into college, the commitment to not just letting you stay in a bubble within Brookstone and within Brookstone's bubble and encouraging students to go out into the community through service, through club activities like club sports and that kind of thing. That's the reason I stayed.
That long list of activities you have right now, would you have been able to do all those things if had you gone someplace else?
I don't think so. Mostly because the theater teacher would be so mad that I'm doing cross country at the same time.
Luckily, Mr. and Mrs. Davis are very accommodating.
Very accommodating. Very kind to accommodate for all of this stuff.
They are. That's great. Okay, core values. There's 7 of them. I'm not going to ask you to recite them, but I would love to, if you've had a chance to sort of consider this a little bit, what may be the most meaningful core value to you? Charles, I'll start with you.
Sure. I think I would go with respect. Respect being the core value to me, because if I feel like if you have respect for somebody or you have gained respect yourself, then you already start off on the right foot. Like if you walk into a room and you show somebody respect and you hold yourself like you deserve respect as well in an interview and any type of life situation, that will take you far.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what about you?
I feel like the most meaningful core value for me is like service. I just feel like I need to like push myself more to like serve other people and like care more about others, and like service is a really big part of Brookstone. Like Charles said, like encouraging students to go out and like serve other people. Like we had an assembly for Beta Club about it was all about service. Miss Blackman showed like all these like bunch of different like service activities that we could go out and do.
What's been your favorite service activity you've done since you've been in Brookstone?
My favorite thing was probably through cheer. We got to go to True Spring. Spring.
Yeah.
And we got to go like teach little girls cheers, and they were all so happy.
That's awesome.
And it was so much fun.
Did you get them up? Did you pick them up high?
We didn't, but they got
That's a
to
little
like
dangerous.
they had to learn like a lot of cheers, and they really loved it.
What's your favorite cheer that we do?
My favorite cheer, probably Pump It Up.
Pump It Up? Yeah, that's a good one, right? Pep rallies, that's a good pep rally cheer, isn't it? Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, so you all have spent a lot of time on this campus. What is your favorite place, Kate? Let's start with you. What's your favorite place on this
My
campus?
favorite place, probably Courtney's Pond, just because like it's so like peaceful and like relaxing, and it's just so like calm, and like you see like other parts of campus like the gym, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're just like here, and you're like, is this the same campus?
Do you get to spend time? Do you get to sit out there ever? Is there opportunities for you to do that?
Recently I'm an ambassador, so I was touring, and me and one of my friends got to just like sit out there for a minute and like eat lunch.
That's great. Well, the high schoolers get to do, when you get to high school, you'll get to do that much more often. So that's really cool. Really cool. Thank you. What about you, Charles?
I'd probably say for the longest time, definitely, I mean, the theater. I love the stage. The stage is very nice, and with all like the different renovations that have happened, it's very nice. And then my second would be more recently the library, which because I've realized that there are a lot of really interesting, like we have a really weird and wide collection of books. Because I went to the public library to see if there was, and we have a lot more of what I was kind of looking for. So there's a lot of interesting.
What have you been reading?
I've been really interested in kind of these, like. Beauty in mathematical equations books.
Oh, wow.
It's called I forgot what the book's called, but I got a bunch of these.
But we have it here, and they don't have it in the public.
No,
library.
they don't have many mathematical.
Chalk one up for Brookstone.
Yeah,
I like that. How about it?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great,
man. I'm not sure I would be interested in that, but I respect those who are. That's awesome. Okay, so Charles, we'll start with you on this one. Share a moment since you've been here in your time at Brookstone that made you feel particularly proud to be part of this community.
A moment to be proud of this community. Well, there's a lot. Oh, okay, I can think of one. So, a lot of the time, whenever we have these, the signing days for kids going off to college for sports, I always feel really proud, especially when I know the kids, like when I knew Tommy Marston and Holly for last year when they were going off to swim.
Yep.
And I have this really specific memory on Blue and White Day when I must have been really little, and we were watching this relay, and this guy that I know was going off to college for some track sport when I was little, and I remember him running around the track doing a 200 or doing an 800, and it was so fast, and everyone was like cheering super loud. I remember that, and I just think that's really cool.
That is really cool.
The support that we give to people that are trying to achieve high.
Yeah, Blue and White Day is a neat day. That's for sure. What about you, Kate?
This is like kind of recent because there are like so many moments, but I feel like after Aladdin, just like seeing so many people that maybe I'd like just seen in the halls or like that I didn't know really well, like coming out and supporting just our whole cast and like coming up to me and saying, you did such a good job. That's and awesome. Like everyone, like even like the small kids, like a bunch of pictures. And
That's
stuff.
great. Well, it brought the community together without a doubt. It was a community building event. I'll tell you one moment that made me proud recently was this morning. The Veterans Day celebration was just really nice. And I know, Charles, you were a part of that. Just a really, really nice thing that we did. I think people wonder why we go to school on Veterans Day. Well, I think this morning was a perfect example of why we should be here. Okay, we're talking about adults now. You've already mentioned a couple of adults who are important to you all, but tell us about your most impactful teachers, coaches, theater directors, whoever they might be. Kate, let's start with you.
I feel like the Davises have been like really impactful because they've like given me a lot of opportunities that I feel like if I was at another school, I really wouldn't have gotten. Like the ability to like act in a middle school play, even though I was in 5th grade, and then really get my start. And then I also feel like Miss Hearn has been really impactful, and Coach Didi was especially.
That's awesome.
Even in intermediate school, she was just like always like there, and I was always like volunteering and stuff like with like through her. So
That's
I
great.
feel like she was really impactful.
A lot of energy there.
Yes.
You picked all the energetic people. Good for you. What about you, Charles?
I'd probably say the Davises. I'll talk about them in a second. But Miss Collier, when I was in 1st or 2nd grade, 3rd grade, she was one of the first ones that recognized that I had ADHD. She'd done that for a few people because she's had so many kids that have had it, and so she helped me learn math the way that my brain works.
Oh wow.
And help my parents realize and the teachers realize that I wasn't understanding the math, is that my brain was doing it differently. So she started teaching me in the way that I was thinking, and that helped me get math like a lot better. And so I was able to go into more advanced classes and work through math in that way.
Wow. What are you taking right now, math-wise?
I'm taking multivariable calculus this year.
Wow, so that really was a big moment for you. Yeah, wow, how about that?
And then, of course, my other two teachers would be Mrs. Davis and Mr. Davis for a multitude of reasons. But an amazing one would just be the example of how to act professionally, because there's not many people I can think of that act more professionally than Mr. and Mrs. Davis in the way that they do work. Because if you expect them to do a job, they will ask questions and write plans and practice it until the job is correct. There's no one more thorough than Mr. Davis on earth. I don't think I've met someone more thorough than Mr. Davis before, or more intelligent. And the way Miss Davis is able just to connect to the students and convey what she wants, I think is really powerful. So those skills and the talks that I've had with Mr. Davis and Mrs. Davis has probably been the most deep and revealing.
That's awesome.
Of whatever.
We're incredibly fortunate to have them. We're incredibly fortunate. Thank you. Okay, traditions. We have a lot of them here. So why don't, Charles, we start with you. What's your favorite tradition here at Brookstone?
Oh, that's hard. The tradition. I love the spirit stick. This is the first time this year was the first time I got to hold it.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because during the pep rally after the seniors won it, they kind of just like pushed it all.
That was
the
a
way in the
huge
back.
upset victory, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's never happened before. I do remember when I was in 3rd grade, the intermediate school has won it a
really?
few times.
Oh yeah, they have.
They have.
Really?
There's been a few times where it's been so loud they even gave it to the intermediate school.
Yeah, the seniors got a little bit mad about
they
that
sure
that
did.
year.
All right, sorry. Go back. You were to hold the spirits.
But it was just in the back, so I was able to kind of I just held it for the rest of the pep rally because no one else no one was telling me not to, so I just held it on my shoulder the entire pep rally.
That's really cool. That's really cool. That's a great tradition. That's cool. What about you, Kate?
I have to say one of my favorite traditions is the Bocelli bonfire. I feel like that's like the best like pep rally thing that we have like of the whole year. So
How close do you get to that fire?
I don't get that close
It is hot.
sometimes it's hot, like hot outside and hot.
Yes.
But I feel like it's just a lot of fun because like I'd like to hang out with my friends, and so like you just get to like
It's
watch.
pretty amazing that the fire department lets us do that, isn't it?
Oh yes.
It's a great tradition, though. Thank you. Okay, this is an easy one for students, I think, but I'm eager to hear your answer. What's one thing that should never change about the school? Kate, we'll start with you.
That should never change.
Should never change about Brookstone.
That should never change. I feel like what I said earlier, like the connection that teachers get with their students and just office hours too, especially. That should never change. That should never be taken away like from students if they
Good.
need
No, that
help
would be-
after school.
You're right. I agree with you on that one. We should definitely never take that one away. Terrific. Charles, what about you? What's one thing that should never change?
On surface level, the colors. Man, I love the colors. Are a really good choice. I
Yeah.
think the
Everybody looks good in blue, don't
yeah,
they?
they do. It's good different shades of blue, from the deep blue to the bright blues.
Yeah.
And then If I were to pick another one, it'd probably be, like I said, to build a broad student the ability to have multiple things, and especially if they were like baked into the day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if, like I said, office hours,
Yeah.
even if they're look different, if the schedule changes, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great to know. File that one away. Okay. So Charles, you mentioned a book that you've been looking for, but talk about maybe a book that's had the biggest impact in your life.
A book that's had the biggest impact in my life. So I'll pick two. So there's this play by Arthur Miller called Death of a Salesman.
Great book.
And I love plays, and I love Death of a Salesman. And in ninth grade, we read it, and it was one of the first serious monologues I had done as a student. And it showed me a lot of character in terms of skills of acting and stuff like that. And then the other book I would choose is this.
Have you seen, before you go to the next one, have you seen the Dustin Hoffman Death of a Salesman version?
I have not.
You should be able to find that online somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will.
He played a great lead role in that.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
Got it. And then the other book is a picture book called The Dot, which is read every year at the spring room. And it's basically about a little girl who says she can't draw, and her art teacher tells her to just make a dot. And so she takes her pen and slams it on the paper. And she says, the art teacher says, now sign it. And the next day she walks in, and it's framed in swirly gold frames. And she says, I can draw a better dot than that. So she starts drawing dots all over the place. She makes dots out of no dots. She makes dots in green, makes dots in colors, makes circles. And at this year's art contest, she puts it up, and the gallery is full of all of Vashti's dots. That's her name, Vashti. And a little girl comes up to Vashti and says, I can't draw a straight line with a ruler. And the girl says, well, show me. And he draws a little squiggle, and Vashti tells him to sign it. And so it's a lesson in that anything that you do that you think is not maybe like special or valuable, it can be if you frame it differently and put work into it and change the way you do it. And it's about framing others in swirly gold and asking them to sign it and taking ownership. And so I think it's just a really important lesson and a great thing that everyone can learn from.
Wow. So has there been a moment in your life where you felt that way?
I mean, I think in all the different times in theater when you're able to go up on stage and use something from your past or use emotions that you feel and shape them into a way that's healthy and shows a great deal on stage. I think that's a really way you
absolutely. That's great. Thank you. All right, Kate, book that's had the biggest impact for you.
I'm really not sure, but I forget the name of the book, but it was like another picture book. I read it was like a long time ago.
Okay.
But I remember it was like just about being like kind to everyone, and I think it was like something about like filling buckets like with kindness.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't remember what it was called, but it was like
Mr.
filling.
Hodes?
Yes,
Yep.
it was like filling people up, not like pouring their bucket out or like.
Yeah. Do you think
being
you think Brookstone generally does that?
I think that we do that really well, a lot better than a lot of other places.
Yeah, that's important. Very important. Thank you. Okay, so everybody's sort of got a sense of your resume, so to speak, which is sort of a list of your accomplishments. What's something we might not know about you otherwise that you could tell us? That's sort of something that, like, are you a juggler or something that we might not know about you that your friends at school might not even know about you?
Kind of random, and I don't do it often, but I do really like to bike.
Oh, cool. Like mountain bike?
Really anywhere. Like when we did a little trip and we were on the Cape and went to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. And so we went biking in Chatham, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Gosh, right, I want that ocean breeze, huh?
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
And it was such nice weather too.
Yeah, so biking with your family.
Yes.
Yeah, all of you all were there?
Yes.
That's great. That's really cool. Thank you. Charles, what about you?
I guess this isn't. It's kind of in line with what I do, but it's still not like on my resume or whatever. But I'm part of a band. The Hank Wiley and Sam Wiley, all three of us. We played at a Porch Fest, which is just like an open charity event thing. So I play the bass and I sing in the band.
That's awesome.
But it also goes along with I like playing music, so I play piano all the time. It's not really on my resume or anything like that.
What kind of band are you all? Are you all cover band?
Yeah, we haven't written anything.
What do you cover?
We've done all sorts of stuff. We've done some country stuff. We've done some rock, done some alternative, some indie. that kind of thing.
What's your one that really gets the crowd going?
We did Here Comes the Sun, which was a fun one.
Yeah.
We did Bad Moon Rising, which is another fun one. We did a song called Must Have Been a Ghost, which is kind of like a funk indie song.
Okay.
And then we did a few Hosier songs, which is he's an artist who does some folk indie kind of things.
Cool. That's really neat. I would never have known that. To see you guys play, maybe you'll play.
Probably at some point if Mr.
Spring Arts Festival, maybe. How about that? Yeah. Okay. So Charles, will start with you on this one. What's the best praise you've ever received?
So this would come from Mr. Davis when he was reading me a recommendation he wrote me for something, and he said, I'm not as eloquent as he is, but he said something along the lines of, some people you have to worry about where they're going to end up, what they're doing. You can't take their eyes off of them, and you have to make sure that they're safe. Charles is not one of those people that you worry about. Charles is one of those people that you can feel confident in whatever job he's going to do. He's going to finish it out strong. He's going to do it to his best of his effort, and he's going to ask questions. So that's probably the best praise
That's
I've
awesome.
received.
Man, that'll stick with you. Good stuff. What about you, Kate?
The best praise that I've probably received was, like I said, Aladdin. I feel like it was a lot of praise from, like, everyone. Like, I could not get out of the Turner Center gallery. There were too many people trying to, like, tell me how good I did or, like, trying to get a picture with me. And I, like, felt like a celebrity. I was like, wow.
You were. You both are.
I was like, wow, all these people, like, really just loved this show that I was in and really just truly enjoyed it. Like, they weren't just trying to be nice.
That's awesome. That's tremendous. I can imagine. All right. So Kate, you talked about biking being fun. What else do you do to relax and recharge yourself when you go home, or where do you like to vacation? What do you do? What do you like to do?
I'd like to, like, listen to music or something while I, like, do my homework.
What do you like to listen to?
Really just anything.
Give me one example.
I listen to a lot of Gracie Abrams, for sure.
Okay, there you go. Good. That's good homework music.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I also like to read a lot, which I just feel like I don't really talk about that.
Yeah.
But I'm a pretty fast reader, so I love, like, reading The Hunger Games.
Oh, cool. People don't read as much as they used to. I'm glad to hear that. Good. You like the book, the physical book.
Yeah.
Good. Terrific. Charles, what about you? Relax and recharge. What do? You don't have much time for it.
No, not really. I like to, I sing. My parents and my girlfriend always joke that they always know where I am in the house because I'm always making noise. I'm either like, or I'm singing or something like that. So it's probably that, or I sing along to, I listen to the recording from All-State Choir last year all the time and sing along to it. And I also play piano, like every time I pass our piano, I play for I get stuck for 10, 15 minutes and just play whatever I'm thinking about.
So that relaxes your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Man, your house must be lively.
It's very loud. It's very loud.
So maybe this is a probably more relevant question for you, Charles, but Kate, I want to give you a chance to answer it too. Like as you're on your way out of Brookstone, I know you still have a sister who will be here, but what are your hopes and dreams for the school in general as sort of we look towards the future here?
I hope that Brookstone will continue to value the idea of giving someone a chance to want to do something, to giving someone a spark, to giving them a chance to have a chance at something. So, for example, forcing them to try to sing, forcing them to try to play an instrument, forcing them to try to act, forcing them to do stuff because they will find it, and leaving room for students that even in high school, that if there's not any interest in it at the moment, leaving room for students to have the opportunity to do stuff and listening to what students want to do.
Fantastic. Thank you. Kate, hopes and dreams for Brookstone.
You kind of stole mine, Charles. Thanks. But I was going to say, especially like in lower school, I just feel like having like those kids, like I remember people in 5th grade being like, oh, I don't really like this, or oh, I really like this, or doing things. And we were all like thinking about middle school, like, oh, what sports are we going to do? What are we going to do? And a lot of people already had their minds set on things because they had like been like exposed to it through just Brookstone, like having those opportunities. Like I know there are a lot of people in my grade that started doing theater and like real productions the same time that I did and have stuck with it just because Brookstone like always had those like plays available like in second and third grade and like kindergarten even.
That's awesome. So all those endless opportunities that we provide here, it sounds like what you all are really hoping that Brookstone continues.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. Charles, I hesitate to ask this question, but you're heading off to college. Do you know where or what do you hope? What are your hopes right now for that process?
I don't really know. I'm applying to 8 or 9 colleges with with it growing, but I want to major in environmental sciences on a pre-law track to become an environmental lawyer.
Fabulous. Well, that's exciting. Well, good luck there.
Thank you.
We know you're going to end up someplace great. Well, listen, both of you, thank you for your time. Thank you for your insight. And thank you for sharing so much. I know our audience will be thrilled to hear this and to hear all what you all have done and also about all the exciting things that are happening here at Brookstone. Kate, good luck to you in the rest of your 7th grade year.
Thank you.
And Charles, enjoy every moment. Enjoy every moment between now and that graduation in the spring. And I hope it's a terrific rest of the year for you. Thank you all for joining us again on Be the One podcast, and we'll see you next time.